Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this morning and a very warm welcome to all of you. We are very excited to be here today to answer as many questions as we can on adoption. Before we start, just a couple of things to keep in mind. This will be in a webinar mode, so all attendees would be muted. We will begin with a short introduction of WIC's work and then start with the questions. There's an option for Q&A right at the bottom of your Zoom window. Please use that to send as many questions that you have. We will try and answer as many as we can right now. And if there are more, then we'll always respond to you over email. Session is being recorded and we'll make sure that it gets shared on all social media channels of WIC. If there are any internet interruptions, we've planned backups, so be patient. Only other thing to know is that Meera and I can answer questions in English, Hindi, or Telugu. So we are open to any of these languages. Just a few points about us. We have with us today Meera. Meera is the CEO and co-founder of WIC. She's an adoptive parent as well as a bio mom. She's also an adoption counselor as well as a parenting counselor. With Meera as at the helm of affairs at WIC, we've seen amazing growth in the past 1 year. She was in the past, before WIC, in technology leadership positions. And with her here, we've been able to expand our work in Maharashtra and Telangana immensely, and with more plans coming up in the coming months. I am one of the directors and co-founders. Those are my kids. I've got 2 daughters through adoption, Ivanka and Verushka. And I also head the people function at WIC. As part of the founding team, my job is also to support Meera in all the strategy and expansion that the organization is going through at the moment. Meera, would you like to say anything before we jump into an introduction for WIC?
Yes, thanks, Pratima. Thanks a lot for that introduction. Good morning to everyone who's joined. It's a Sunday, but still all of you made time to join the webinar. Shows a lot of interest from you. Hope we make your time worthwhile and hope you can also clarify a lot of questions that come up with our work or adoption. So anything, please put it up in the Q&A as Pratima mentioned. And thank you once again for being here. So I'll start once Pratima gives me the go ahead.
Yes, please do, Meera. I think let's start with a brief introduction of our work and then we'll take questions as many as we can.
Sure. Sorry about that. So WIC has been working now close to about 4.5 years. We've established 4 years back, but since 4.5 years, we've been looking at major problem in India, a challenge, I wouldn't say a problem, a challenge which a lot of us tend to ignore, right? So we are trying to ensure that every eligible child, every abandoned and orphaned child in India today, living in India's shelters, reaches the legal adoption pool so that they get a chance to reach a forever family. India has, though we are a 1.3 billion in population, still, our adoption ecosystem is growing. Today, there are a lot of parents, I'll give you the numbers soon, who are waiting to adopt, right? But the legal adoption pool where they can adopt from is very less. And that's a major problem we are trying to solve as well. So we work on the ground with the local women and child development authorities, different levels of authorities like the District Child Protection Unit, the WCD Commissioner, and the Child Welfare Committee members. So our field workers actually do all the groundwork for us. Along with that, we do have training awareness programs and also legislative advocacy interventions for policy interventions to look at the child's right for a family. I think in India today, we do not really consider the child's right to family as one of the prime needs of a child, right? Primary needs. We think like right to education, it did take a long time for people to understand the right to education. Our endeavor is we also come up with something like a child's right to family. And that is where WIC's focus is today. I'll give you some more details as we go by through the webinar. Hopefully it will take about 10 minutes for us to present what we are doing, what challenges, etc. And after that, the floor is open. I'll start with a journey of a child, right? So Sakshi was found at a railway station when she was only 5 years old. She was hungry, alone, confused, lost. Her family could not be traced, and she was placed in a childcare institution or shelter, child shelters that we understand today, where she languished for 4 long years. So today, if you look at some of the reports from WCD and CARA, there are 4 lakh children residing in India's shelters, but barely 2,100 children in the legal adoption pool. And this is a source from CARA itself. So why is there such a chasm? What is the reason, right? So today, according to our study, which we did in Pune, 3 out of every 10 children living in the CCIs should be evaluated for adoption eligibility. That means the Child Welfare Committee should conduct an adoption evaluation for at least 3 children out of every 10. But only 1 out of every 200 children are getting evaluated today, which is a big, big difference. So on the other hand, you will see that over 33,000 parents are registered, singles and couples, wait an average of 3 years to adopt, right? And many more get discouraged and resort to illegal adoptions or don't adopt at all. So why does this happen? So a few reasons we've found through our groundwork as well as our child shelter study: general apathy and lack of pre-adoption understanding on the ground, right, by the stakeholders, by the child shelters. Generally, the ecosystem itself does not understand how to put children through a pre-adoption process, which is governed by the Juvenile Justice Act as well.
Sorry, Meera, yes. There is a request that if some of the important points can also be repeated in Hindi.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'll try to do multilingual. Let's see. So अभी तक अब आपने numbers देखे थे. I'll go back if you want to. दिखाती हूँ. तो आज की तारीख में there are 33,000 parents wait कर रहे हैं, singles, couples. Average होता है 3 साल उनका waiting. आज की तारीख में मैंने last year एक parent से बात किया, उनको 42 months लगा बच्चे को घर लाने के लिए. तो इसकी वजह से वेट ज्यादा है और ज्यादातर लोग इलीगल अडॉप्शंस करते हैं या करते ही नहीं है अडॉप्शंस. तो ये क्यों होता है? तो ग्राउंड में जो अथॉरिटीज रहते हैं या सीसीआईज हैं, उनको प्रोसेस का नॉलेज नहीं है कि कैसे बच्चों को डालते हैं, राइट? सो देयर इज नो अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द प्री अडॉप्शन प्रोसेस बिकॉज देयर इज अ प्रोसेस लेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. So the government has a JJ Act, Juvenile Justice Act, through which they have given a process. There is adoption regulations, JJ model rules. So all those rules are set, but the understanding is less on the ground, right? And manual tracking of children. मतलब चिल्ड्रन को फाइल्स में चिल्ड्रन का डेटा जो है वो फाइल्स में रहता है, ट्रैकिंग जो है वो फाइल से करते हैं, तो लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स चिल्ड्रन फॉल थ्रू द क्रैक. एंड स्टेटस ऑफ लीगल गार्डियंस फॉर चिल्ड्रन इज अननोन. So a lot of children living in the shelters have guardians. So they are orphaned but have guardians, or have parents, but they are living in the shelters. But their status is not known as to whether they are willing to take the child home after a while, even if they are found or not. So ये ज़्यादातर लोग जो हैं मामा ताया, बहुत सारे relatives भी रहते हैं जो बच्चों के दोनों माँ बाप गुजर गए, या जो बच्चों के माँ बाप हैं उनका भी कभी कभी पता नहीं रहता है क्योंकि वो विजिट नहीं करते, आते नहीं है देखने को, तो वो स्टेटस थोड़ा अनक्लियर है चिल्ड्रन के गार्डियंस का. एंड ऑफ कोर्स क्योंकि प्रोसेस पता नहीं है तो चिल्ड्रन, जो भी बच्चे एलिजिबल हैं अडॉप्शन के लिए, वो हाईलाइट नहीं होते हैं. तो ये एक बड़ी समस्या है, राइट? एंड द लास्ट इज नो इंसेंटिव फॉर सीसीआईज टू प्रमोट अडॉप्शन. तो वी डू बिलीव कि सीसीआईज को जो है वो मतलब उनका अच्छा ही रहता है, लेकिन बच्चों को सीसीआईज में रखना चाहते हैं. ये सीसीआईज के बाहर भेजना नहीं चाहते. उनको लगता है, एक तो उनको लगता है कि कंफर्टेबल हो गए हैं, बाहर क्यों भेजाना है फैमिली के पास. एक और है कि एक थोड़ा जरिया बन गया है उनका लाइवलीहुड का बच्चों को सीसीआईज में रखने के लिए. लेकिन ज्यादातर सीसीआईज अच्छे भी हैं, लेकिन इनको प्रोसेस नहीं मालूम, इसीलिए रखते नहीं हैं. सो ये दोनों वजह से बच्चे सीसीआईज में रह जाते हैं. So these are the 5 main findings we have found while doing our study and through our groundwork the past 1.5 to 2 years. तो हमने
Neera, can
as
you,
WIC,
I think we'll just explain what's a CCI. That's not very clear. Somebody's asked.
ओके, सो सीसीआई है चाइल्ड केयर इंस्टीट्यूशन बोलते हैं इनको हम आमतौर पे चाइल्ड शेल्टर्स, वी कॉल देम चाइल्ड शेल्टर्स और ऑर्फनेजेस, चिल्ड्रंस होम्स, दोज आर द अदर टर्म्स व्हिच आर यूज्ड. तो ज्यादातर ये सीसीआई एक्चुअली शुड हाउस ओनली ऑर्फन चिल्ड्रन, मतलब दोनों जो माँ बाप गुजर गए हैं उनको रखना चाहिए, लेकिन काफी चाइल्ड शेल्टर्स माँ बाप को मदद करने के लिए भी बच्चों को सीसीआईस में डालते हैं. सो ये चाइल्ड केयर इंस्टीट्यूशंस आज की तारीख में इंडिया में तकरीबन 7,500 हैं, राइट. सो वी हैव कवर्ड क्लोज टू अबाउट 320 चाइल्ड शेल्टर्स सो फार इन 2 states. तो आज की तारीख में सीसीआईस, थोड़े सीसीआईस जो हैं एजुकेशनल सपोर्ट के लिए करते हैं मेनली वर्क, और बहुत सारे सीसीआईस मिक्स्ड भी रखते हैं. तो थोड़े कैटेगरीज हम थोड़ा बात करेंगे उसके बारे में. मिक्स्ड बच्चों को मतलब जो जिनके माँ बाप हैं और जिनके माँ बाप गुजर गए हैं या अबैंडन्ड है और सरेंडर्ड है. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द कैटेगरीज, बट चाइल्ड शेल्टर्स आर देयर इन इंडिया in large numbers. So that is the option for child protection in India. Okay. So WIC ने एक three-pronged approach लिया है. So we've taken a three-pronged approach. So one is technology-enabled fieldwork. We'll talk a little bit more. तो technology-enabled मतलब technology solution के द्वारा कैसे हम थोड़ा ये समस्या का हल कर सकते हैं, उस पे हमने थोड़ा काम किया है. और ट्रेनिंग, तो हम ट्रेनिंग करते हैं रेलेवेंट स्टेक होल्डर्स, मतलब डिस्ट्रिक्ट चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन यूनिट्स, चाइल्ड वेलफेयर कमिटीज और सीसीआईस को हम ट्रेनिंग देते हैं कि कैसे अडॉप्शन में डाल सके बच्चों को. एंड जुडिशियल इंटरवेंशंस एंड पब्लिक अवेयरनेस कैंपेन्स, ये भी एज आई सेड बिफोर, चाइल्ड्स राइट टू फैमिली कैसे हो सकता है, कैसे हम वो ला सकते हैं थ्रू जुडिशियल इंटरवेंशन, वर्किंग विद द गवर्नमेंट ऑन अ रेजोल्यूशन इज व्हाट वी ट्राई टू डू. तो ये 3 हमारे अप्रोच रहे हैं, मेन अप्रोच हमारे काम का. इन द लास्ट 1 year, 1 साल में हमने WIC का सोल्यूशन डिप्लॉय किया है महाराष्ट्र और तेलंगाना में. आज की तारीख में 10,000 से ज्यादा रिकॉर्ड्स वी हैव कलेक्टेड इन आवर टेक्नोलॉजी सोल्यूशन कॉल्ड CLMS, और 20+ डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स, तो एग्जैक्ट नंबर है 23 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स वी आर वर्किंग वेयर वी डिजिटाइज. मतलब ये रिकॉर्ड्स हमने एंटर किए हैं हमारे टेक्नोलॉजी सोल्यूशन में, जो वेरीफाइबल है और डिजिटाइज मतलब विजिबल है अथॉरिटीज को. और हमने हमारे रूल इंजन के द्वारा जो CLMS में आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं रूल्स के द्वारा, जो JJ एक्ट और अडॉप्शन रेगुलेशन के रूल्स हैं, उसके द्वारा 3,900+ चिल्ड्रन को अडॉप्शन एलिजिबिलिटी के लिए हमने फ्लैग किया है, रिकमेंड किया है. और फील्ड वर्कर्स ने, हमारे जो एसोसिएट्स हैं, काम किया है और काम कर रहे हैं 300+ केसेस में. प्रायोरिटाइज करते हैं हम कितने केसेस पे तुरंत हो सकता है अडॉप्शन में आ सकते हैं, और तकरीबन 160+ चिल्ड्रन को हमने लीगली फ्री किया है टू बी अडॉप्टेड. ये सब 160+ चिल्ड्रन केयरिंग्स के पोर्टल में हैं, वो थोड़ा हम बात करेंगे उसके बारे में भी. और खुशी होगी हमको बताने के लिए आपको कि 50+ चिल्ड्रन जा चुके हैं फॉरएवर फैमिलीज में. So 50+ children have been adopted, also reserved for adoption in intercountry through intercountry reserve. So this is the impact of our work. The impact is much more, but at least we are saying that we are bringing these children visible in front of the authorities. So that is our main goal also as WIC's work. तो आप सोच रहे होंगे साक्षी की कहानी और जर्नी तो सुनाई है कि क्या हुआ है, साक्षी आ गई थी CCI में, लेकिन उसके बाद साक्षी का क्या हुआ. तो हमारे फील्ड वर्कर्स जब गए तो साक्षी का रिकॉर्ड भी WIC टेक सोल्यूशन में एंटर किया गया और वो अडॉप्शन के लिए फ्लैग हुई. और हमारे फील्ड वर्कर ने उनके केस पे काम किया, नेसेसरी प्रोसेस सपोर्ट किया CWC और DCPU को, और उसके द्वारा वो लीगली फ्री फॉर अडॉप्शन हो गई. और आज की तारीख में साक्षी अपने फॉरएवर फैमिली भी रीच हो गई. लेकिन साक्षी को बहुत वेट करना पड़ा, राइट. शी हैड टू वेट अ लॉन्ग टाइम टू रीच हर फॉरएवर फैमिली. शी हैड टू लिव इन शेल्टर फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम बिफोर शी कुड रीच हर फॉरएवर फैमिली. So that's the story of Sakshi. But what happens when a Sakshi comes into the legal adoption pool, right? So जब enter होते हैं legal adoption pool में 3 documents होते हैं. एक होता है लीगली फ्री फॉर अडॉप्शन सर्टिफिकेट, एक होता है चाइल्ड स्टडी रिपोर्ट और मेडिकल एग्जामिनेशन रिपोर्ट। ये 3 डॉक्यूमेंट्स जो है बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, और इसको every specialized adoption agency has to upload on the Carings portal. And CCI जब हम लोग there's a difference. So एक मिनट लेती हूँ। सा का मतलब होता है स्पेशलाइज्ड एडॉप्शन एजेंसी, जो 0 to 6 years तक चिल्ड्रन को हाउस करते हैं, और अगर बच्चा 6 years से ऊपर हो जाता है उसको सीसीआई करते हैं। वैसे सा भी सीसीआई है, लेकिन टर्मिनोलॉजी में थोड़ा डिफरेंस है। सा डेफिनेटली अडॉप्शन के लिए देखता है, सीसीआई अडॉप्शन के लिए शायद देखते ना हो, लेकिन 6 to 18 years तक हाउस करते हैं सीसीआई। तो सीसीआई में जब बच्चा आता है वो डीसीपीयू पोर्टल में, डिस्ट्रिक्ट चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन यूनिट पोर्टल में अपलोड करते हैं। पोर्टल में जब अपलोड करते हैं तभी मैच हो सकते हैं बच्चे पेरेंट्स के साथ। जो 33,000 पेरेंट्स हैं वो बच्चे तभी मैच होते हैं जब लीगल अडॉप्शन पूल में अपलोड होते हैं ये बच्चों का रिकॉर्ड। तो पहले जब अपलोड होते हैं तो चाइल्ड का क्लासिफिकेशन देखा जाता है कि नॉर्मल कैटेगरी का बच्चा है या स्पेशल नीड्स का, और अगर स्पेशल नीड्स के नहीं है तो अगर एक पैप वेटिंग है तो तुरंत उनको रेफर किया जाता है, और अगर स्पेशल नीड्स क्लासिफाई किए गए हैं तो एक स्पेशल नीड्स लिस्ट है केयरिंग्स पोर्टल में, उसमें ऐड किया जाता है बच्चे को। और जब बच्चे रिजर्व हो जाते हैं डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम स्पेशल नीड्स, या एक और लिस्ट है इमीडिएट प्लेसमेंट, तो पैप्स विजिट करके उनको घर ला सकते हैं एक्सेप्ट करके। अगर बच्चे को जब नॉर्मल कैटेगरी के लिस्ट में दिया जाता है तो वो अगर बच्चे को रेफर होके रिजर्व करते हैं, मतलब पैप्स बोलते हैं चलो मैं ये रिजर्व करते हैं बच्चे को, वो चले जाते हैं वो पेरेंट के पास थ्रू फॉस्टर केयर एग्रीमेंट। अगर नहीं करते हैं तो दूसरे वेटिंग पेरेंट की क्यू में चले जाते हैं। तो कभी कभी क्या होता है, मल्टीपल टाइम्स अ चाइल्ड इज रिजेक्टेड, आई वुडंट वांट टू यूज द वर्ड रिजेक्टेड, नॉट एक्सेप्टेड, तभी बच्चे को इमीडिएट प्लेसमेंट या 7-day लिस्ट में रख दिया जाता है। थोड़े नए एडिशंस हुए हैं केयरिंग्स में आज की तारीख में, जहाँ पे केयरिंग कारा भी ट्राई कर रही है कि कैसे ये बच्चों को जल्दी से जल्दी अडॉप्ट कर सके पेरेंट्स। और अडॉप्ट करने के बाद आप पैप नहीं है, अडॉप्ट करने के बाद वो घर लाते हैं बच्चों को, और प्री अडॉप्शन फॉस्टर केयर एग्रीमेंट लिख के घर लाते हैं 30 days में। और थोड़े ही महीनों में डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट का अडॉप्शन ऑर्डर और बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट, जो भी ज्यादा डॉक्यूमेंट्स एडिशनल डॉक्यूमेंट्स रिक्वायर्ड है, वो डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट के साथ डेट होती है, मीटिंग होती है, और फॉर्मलाइज होता है अडॉप्शन उसके बाद। तो ये है प्रोसेस आफ्टर द लीगल अडॉप्शन पूल। तो ये हमको आपको दिखाना था, क्योंकि हम प्री अडॉप्शन प्रोसेस में काम करते हैं। तो जब तक बच्चा या बच्ची लीगल अडॉप्शन पूल तक आती हैं तब तक हम मॉनिटर करते हैं, उसके बाद केयरिंग्स में जाते हैं और केयरिंग्स का प्रोसेस ओवरटेक करता है उसका। तो दिस इज द प्रोसेस फॉर द अडॉप्शन प्रोसेस। टुडे वी आर लुकिंग एट द प्री अडॉप्शन प्रोसेस, बिकॉज अनलेस children come into the legal adoption pool, they will not get adopted. The legal process is taken care by, the legal adoption process is taken care by Carings, the CARA portal. The pre-adoption process is done on the ground by the District Child Protection Unit, and the Child Welfare Committee does the process for the pre-adoption. So we just wanted to show you a difference in our work. And the process for international adoption काफी similar है। उनका ऑथराइज्ड फॉरेन अडॉप्शन एजेंसी होता है, एनओसी होता है फ्रॉम कारा, एंड इमिग्रेशन रूल्स थोड़े होते हैं, जिसकी वजह से जब बच्चे रिजर्व होते हैं तो थोड़ा टाइम गैप ज्यादा होता है जब तक उन तक पहुंचते हैं। तो वो एक डिफरेंस है इंटरनेशनल और डोमेस्टिक अडॉप्शंस का। तो आप हमको सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं टू फॉर एवरी साक्षी टू रीच अ फॉरएवर फैमिली। एवरी साक्षी को कैसे हम फैमिली तक पहुंचा सके, आपकी सपोर्ट बहुत जरूरत होती है हमको। ये हमारी टीम है। आप सोचेंगे कौन हमारे साथ काम कर रहे हैं, ये हमारी टीम है। हम आज की तारीख में टोटल वी आर 24 people working all together, including our support staff. But most of these people work on the ground to make a child's right for a family a reality. And we are very thankful to our team. They're very dedicated, motivated. They work every day. Even though there are a lot of challenges, बहुत challenges होती हैं ground में, उसके बावजूद ये लोग डटे रहते हैं, और we are very thankful to our team for all the work they do, including our support staff. Without them, we will not be here today. I would like to thank each and every one of them for doing their bit for a child's right to family. And this is us, as Pratima had introduced us before. Myself, I'm Meera, Pratima is here. Smriti is the other co-founder, and she takes care of our fundraising wing dedicatedly. We're all adopted parents, including Smriti. She has 2 daughters. आज की तारीख में हम महाराष्ट्र और तेलंगाना में काम कर रहे हैं, बहुत क्लोजली काम करते हैं WCD के साथ, बहुत सपोर्ट मिला है WCD का हमको, क्योंकि बिना उनके approvals and everything we cannot work on the ground. So we also are very thankful to the commissioners of Telangana and Maharashtra for enabling our work. And we do a lot of public awareness campaigns, बहुत करते हैं. Mainly one of them is the Safe Surrender Law कैंपेन, जो माँ बाप या गार्डियन जो बच्चे को संभाल नहीं सकते, कैपेसिटी नहीं है उनको देखने की, देखरेख करने के वेरियस रीजंस, दे नॉट एबल टू, वो सरेंडर कर सकते हैं गवर्नमेंट को. चाइल्ड बिकम्स अ वार्ड ऑफ द स्टेट, और 60 days के अंदर एक्चुअली चाइल्ड कैन गो इनटू द लीगल अडॉप्शन पूल एंड फाइंड अ न्यू फैमिली. So we are raising awareness about this consistently. A lot of our social media posts, and we are also trying to see कैसे हम CSRs के साथ भी जुड़ सकते हैं, जो corporates हैं, हमको ये law को on the ground भी कैसे spread करने के लिए awareness हमको help कर सकते हैं. And of course, judicial intervention. So we are doing a lot of these, but it cannot happen without a big support behind us. So Nudge Institute has supported us for the past almost close to 2 years. We were part of the incubator program and accelerator program. And Azim Premji has decided to support us this financial year and evaluate us for 5 years, which is a great thing for us. Dasra supported us through data for a good exchange. We were selected as the grant winners for a community resilience program. So we're very thankful. We started our journey with the Pune International Center. That's how we found our board of advisors, mentors, etc. And we were incubated with Bhau Institute Center for Excellence also for a year. So without the support of all these foundations and also all the donors who have supported us, I think our work wouldn't have come this far. So we would like to thank them as well. And these are our main 4 areas of work, which we explained earlier as well. Pratima, did I miss anything?
No, that's fine. There are a lot of questions coming, so we might want to get into those. So, yes. Okay.
We are always open for donations. We take donations through Razorpay, bank transfer, automatic debits. All donations are exempt under Section 80G for us. At this time, we are unable to take donations from international donors. You have to be an Indian citizen with an Indian bank account. But feel free to donate as and when you consider us. This is our contact. 3 of us run the show with a lot of support from our team, and I'll be open to take any questions right now.
So Meera, thank you so much for that. There's a lot of questions coming. You can just open your Q&A window and have a look. Maybe I can start with answering one of the earlier ones that came, and then you can pick up some more technical questions which are coming our way.
Sure.
So there's one question that has come, I think it's very fundamental, which is why I wanted to take this. Somebody has asked कि क्या आपसे जुड़ने से हमारा benefit है, क्या हमारा adoption जल्दी हो जाएगा? Would I be able to adopt a child quickly if I support your work? I think the answer is that if you are concerned about over 4 lakh children who are languishing in the shelters across the country today, and if you're concerned that our abandoned and orphaned children getting to families, please support our work. We do believe that more children getting added to the legal adoption pool will eventually reduce the wait times for parents. Can we assure that right now? No, but that's the belief and that's the hope and that's the vision with which we are working. We are also equally disappointed that it is taking 3 years for parents to bring a child home. In fact, that was the reason we started WIC, because we wanted to find out why is it that it is taking so long. we started asking that question, and that question converted into an organization because we realized that asking the question is not enough. You also need solutions. And we were looking for a solution. And I think we've been able to provide that in Maharashtra and Telangana at least. And we're very open to starting new states very soon, right? So that's the answer. That's the best answer that I can give you right now. But yeah. Meena, there are a lot of technical questions coming in. Somebody asking about surrender deeds, etc. Do you want to take anything out of that? Maybe one or two?
I think one of them asked, how long does it take for a child to get legally free for to be adopted?
Yes, let's take that.
Yeah, I think, see, the timeline is given by the JJ Act. JJ Act timeline बोलते हैं कि 2 साल के 0 to 2 years के बच्चों को 2 महीने से 3 महीने लगना चाहिए, और about 2 years it should be anywhere between 2 to 4 months. लेकिन on the ground हमने देखा है कि 4 महीने कम होते हैं. So right now it is taking us at least somewhere between 6 to 8 months to get a child legally free for to be adopted. But that said, in specialized adoption agencies, the timeline remains the 2 to 4 months. They are able to do that. Right? We're talking about CCIs, above 6-year-old. That is taking some time, but ideally the time is 2 to 4 months. That's why I think one of the questions we've been asked is, can I adopt a newborn baby? Sorry, you cannot, because it takes that much time for the child to come into the legal adoption pool. So the ideal time is 2 to 4 months. Right? But yeah, it does take a little longer because, as we said, there is a process to it. And then there's a child study report which needs to be done. A medical examination report has to be updated, to the date. So all these does take time. So ideally 2 to 4 months, but yeah, it sometimes does take more than that. Yeah.
Right. I think, Meera, maybe you can stop sharing so that, we can see the answers a little more.
Yes.
Broadly. So there's a question around, how do I join WIC? I'm so thankful for the question. Please go to the website, wic.in, and there's a careers page. There are a lot of options there that we keep putting up. We are hiring regularly. We're looking for volunteers for various things. You can join us in any capacity. Send across your CV to careers@wic.in. We'll take that up. My request again, if you raise a hand, I'm sure I'm unable to unmute you and take the question because we decided that it'll be a written question. So please just keep writing the question and we'll try and answer as many as we can. There's one more question around, are all children living in the institutions, the shelters, orphans? Well, no. Simple answer, no. A lot of children who are there in the institutes are also admitted by their guardians and parents who are unable to take care of them. That is also the case. In fact, in our work, what we found out is that if we digitize 100% of the children living in a shelter, merely 35 to 40% maximum, we are able to even identify right now who should be directly evaluated for adoption. The rest, we are not able to because there's a living parent somewhere, there's a living guardian somewhere. So that makes the job of getting the child legally free to be adopted way more difficult. So that's not going to be possible, at least with the current law and the legal framework that we have in the country.
Yes. Yes, thanks, Pratima. I just wanted to add. So what also happens is, I think there's one question which says, can you tell us how does WIC Tech work in identifying children in adoption? So it's connected to the question you have asked, right? So we have created about 20 categories of children classification in our technology. So even, so it's not like we are going to CCIs. हम CCIs को जाके सिर्फ वही बच्चों का कलेक्ट नहीं करते जो अडॉप्शन पूल में आ सकते हैं, हम हर एक बच्चे का डेटा कलेक्ट करते हैं, right? So if there are 100 children living in CCIs, हम पूरे 100 का कलेक्ट करते हैं, and then we give categories. So if the child has a living parent, we categorize them as child with, let's say they have put the child because they're financially distressed. We categorize them as financially distressed. Sometimes they're put there because of unsafe household, alcoholic, substance abuse. So we do categorize them like that. And we also categorize the abandoned, orphan, surrendered, which are the main categories which of children who can directly be evaluated for adoption, right? Along with orphan with unfit guardians. Matlab they have put the child who don't have parents in the CCIs, but then they may not come to visit them at all. That means they're not interested in the child. राइट? सो हम लोग इसीलिए ये डेटा कलेक्ट करते हैं क्योंकि हमको लगता है कि अगर आप चाइल्ड पे इन्वेस्टेड हो तो एटलीस्ट वंस अ ईयर आप चाइल्ड बच्चे को देखने आएंगे, राइट? विजिटेशन फ्रीक्वेंसी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो दैट इज वन ऑफ द इंडिकेटर्स. So even though there is a living parent, if the parent has not visited the child in a year or more, we recommend the child to be evaluated for adoption. Does not mean the child will come into adoption. Because then what happens? We highlight करते हैं, CWC probably social investigation करेंगे या पेरेंट्स के साथ बात करके maybe surrender के लिए counsel करेंगे. So those are the options. So we kind of the idea here is not to say that don't be with a biological family. The idea is here to say how can a child reach a family? So through any means in which is given in the law, right? So JJ modern rules में भी लिखा है कि अगर contact नहीं है parent या guardian से, एक बच्चे को evaluate करना चाहिए adoption के लिए. So that is our endeavor, right?
Quite a bunch of questions, Meena. We might have to go through it a little bit more quickly.
Sure.
So one very quick question. I think somebody's asking, I'm a single pap. I have opted for All India pool. If a child is reserved and accepted, in which state the legal proceedings will happen? Simple answer, wherever the child is housed in that SA, in that specialized adoption agency or the CCI, the jurisdiction applies. So all legal proceedings would be in the same state. So I hope
Yes.
that answers your question. Are there any eligibility criteria for adoptive parents?
Yes, you can look at the CARA website. The eligibility criteria is based on the age yeah. So you can, thanks, Pratima.
I'll give the website.
There are, the document is quite informative actually. CARA actually has all the information required of eligibility criteria, domestic parents, resident, non-resident Indians, international parents. They have actually given a lot of information. You can go through that. Eligibility criteria mostly is you have to be financially stable, your age group, based on your age, composite age, the child will be of that age, etc. So you can please go and look at that. It is a very, very comprehensive, informative website. And you can also look at our FAQs, which we have put up on our website, which gives a lot of answers. And one of them is actually this. So you can also look at that. Yeah. I think one of them has a very interesting question. What are your low-hanging fruit to enable more children into the legal adoption pool, right? So Aruna Ramakrishnan. So as we said just now, so what we are doing on priority basis, the 300 plus cases we talked about, are the low-hanging fruit for us, which are the abandoned, orphan, no family support, and surrendered children. These are the children we will, first attend to because they are the low-hanging fruit. The laws are very clear about them, and we can facilitate and support putting these children in the legal adoption pool. So that's the segment of category we are looking at right now.
Okay. Question around who's responsible for declaring a child adoptable? It is the Child Welfare Committee. Every district in the country has a Child Welfare Committee. The decision for giving the order for a child to be legally free for adoption is taken by the Child Welfare Committee. But it is the responsibility of the DCPU, the District Child Protection Officers, and the CCIs to produce the child in front of them and provide all the information around it.
Yeah.
What has been your experience working with the bureaucracy? Very interesting question. See, Aruna, thank you for that question. I think finally, we all deal with human beings, and when it comes to children, everybody cares for them. Yes, sometimes when you are dealing with the government, things move at their own pace. It takes time. It's not the same as the corporate. But we've never felt that somebody has not heard us or has, completely rejected what we wanted to say about a child. At least we feel heard. The pace would be the government's pace, but it moves, and people are open and they listen to us when we go to even the bureaucracy. So I would say it's a mixed bag, really. It's a mixed bag. And if you're just focused on the cause, that's what keeps you going.
I think this answers one of the questions, I think, early on. Can you also talk about what the central government and state governments are doing for this challenge, right? So to answer that question, I think we recently met the central government, central WCD, and they're very open. They see the need for this, especially the technology solution. So they want it to be in such a way that when a child comes into the system, they want to evaluate if the child is adoptable or not. And that is exactly what our tech solution does. You enter the child's data, right? Of course, technology-wise, within about a couple of hours, you know if the child is adoption to be evaluated for adoption or not. They're very keen, so we are very hopeful that there'll be continued talks with them. And the state governments actually, today we feel, as I also said, Maharashtra and Telangana have been great in that aspect. And that is why we're able to work, on the ground. But this is hard work, right? Even if we look at it from the government side, it is hard work, right? So we empathize with the government that, they are doing everything they can to make this work, and hopefully we'll have more support. At the same, this one, I do want to, I think we've not announced it yet, but this is a good platform to announce. We do have approvals for Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh as well to continue our work on the ground, which is a very good sign that, the center wants to take this further into other states. So we're very excited to start work there as well.
I think there was one question on where else you want to work, you would be working. Definitely, we want to cover the entire country as early as we can, because there's a child in every corner that's waiting. But yes, immediately, Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka is where we hope to start soon.
I think there is a question about illegal adoption from, I think, Telangana DCPU, Nagar Kurnool district. So, Malesh garu Telugulo answer chestanu, and I will again answer in English also. So, this is a very, idi koncham eppudaina illegal adoption cases kani, they're very difficult to handle, right? Meeru FIR file chesaru parents meeda, adoptive parents meeda. So, me request entante surrender chesukocha ani. Yes, you can get the surrender deed from the biological parents, so that but the same child will go to the parents who have adopted illegally is not known. Surrender has its, because surrender deed tarvata 60 days, the process, 60 days you wait, and the child will go into the legal adoption pool. So idi koncham katinamaina question because it involves the police, maybe a court case. So these cases are not easy, and we understand. But yes, if you can get the surrender deed from the, biological parents, there's nothing like it. But if they are fighting amongst themselves, then it becomes a problem. And I think the court or the district magistrate has to probably intervene and make a decision on that. So illegal adoption cases are tough because they do go to courts and police matter. So the child is stuck in between. So that is why we recommend, please do not go in for illegal adoptions, because at the end of the day, if you look at it, the child is at the receiving end, right? They grow up in some family and suddenly the police find out about it and they take away the child. It is traumatic both for the parents and the child. So that's one of the reasons we do recommend, please go through CARA for your adoption.
There's another question, technical in nature. हिंदी में है तो मैं हिंदी में पढ़ के जवाब देने की कोशिश करती हूँ. सिंगल मदर हैं, उनकी उम्र 47 साल है, अविवाहित हैं, केंद्रीय विद्यालय में नौकरी करती हैं. जनवरी 2015 में उन्होंने अपनी सगी बहन की छोटी बेटी को अडॉप्ट किया है. स्टैम्प पेपर पे गोदनामा की प्रक्रिया पूरी की है. क्या इस मामले में CWC या कारा की कोई भूमिका बनती है? ध्रुव जी, इस समय कारा के पास इन रिलेशन अडॉप्शन का भी ऑप्शन है. आप उस प्रोसेस को भी कंप्लीट कर सकते हैं. कारा अलाउज यू टू फॉर्मली अडॉप्ट your siblings' children, your relatives' children, stepchildren, etc. The same process that is followed for any prospective adoptive parent can be followed. कारा की भूमिका है. Again, कारा की वेबसाइट पे इसके बारे में काफी इंफॉर्मेशन है. पूरी जो इनकी गाइडलाइंस है वो हिंदी में भी है, अंग्रेजी में भी है. तो मैं आपको I'll request, do have a look. Instead of doing this just on a stamp paper, it would be better if you go through CARA and ensure that all the legalities for a formal adoption are completed.
What do you suggest about adopting a child when we already have one? I did counseling sessions for these. Yes, you can adopt. I'm an adoptive parent and also a biological parent. So yes, you can. And there are counseling sessions for these. please reach out to us. We'll try to help you. There are also other organizations that work specifically in the counseling area for adoption, like Families of Joy, Padme, etc. They do counseling sessions as well. Their main focus is counseling and how to spread awareness about adoption. So you can reach out to them as well. And yes, you can adopt.
My wife and I are both 40 plus. Does specifying 4 to 6 years old age preference lower the wait time? Also, does specifying anywhere without any states mentioned lower the wait time? Thanks. Is Samay, there is a long wait. I mean, I'll give you that. On an average, people are waiting 3 years to bring the child home. There was a time when maybe 4 to 6 would have lowered the wait time. But what we are now noticing is that 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, people are opting for these categories, and the wait times are also increasing here. But should you specify 4 to 6? Should you go for an older child? Absolutely. There are children, who would need a family, who would be open to a 4 to 6 year old. Anywhere without state used to be an option. Now the country is divided into zones, so you are restricted to the zone in which you are resident. So you might have to relook at that. There was a time when putting anywhere without states would give you access to a larger pool, but now that has been changed in the recent amendments in September 2022.
Yeah. And to add to that, we specifically work for children 6 to 18 because that's the pool which is ignored, right? So, and there is a wait time, believe you me, wait time till 10 years. So you might want to look at that, and there are some states where these children are more not looked at. So you can potentially, if you feel ready, that's the question I can answer I can give. You should look at the older children pool, and we also counsel specifically 6 to 18 में अगर आप adopt करना चाहते हैं specifically तो हम counseling देने के लिए तैयार हैं, right? Pratima, there's a question about what exactly is groundwork. Do you go into the CCIs, question the caretakers as well as the children? Do you do the investigative work to find out if the child is an orphan? Ashley Norton is asking this. Thanks, Ashley, for asking that question. So, groundwork means, yes, partly you answered your own question. We go to every CCI in a district where we have approval for, right? We go to the CCI, we talk to the, I don't know if caretaker is the correct word. There is an in charge, CCI manager or in charge, right? We sit with them, we open every case file of the child, right? There are case files, every child has a record. We open that and enter data in our system. Essentially, the CCI in charge will give us additional information, which is sometimes not in the file, right? That is why we talk to them personally. We generally do not talk to the children. We do not have access to the children. The in charge is where we are supposed to talk and take all the information. We don't do any investigative work to find out if the child is an orphan. We take the word of the CCI in charge because most of these children are admitted through the Child Welfare Committee and the District Child Protection Unit, who would have verified whether the child is an orphan or not, right? Or has parents. So we don't do any investigative work as such. That said, if there are children who have families and have not visited them, and if there is a known address, sometimes we have helped the District Child Protection Unit to find the family, and that is in very rare cases. I think we found about 10 families like that as well, but it is not a very regular part of our groundwork. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, adoptive parents are the most important stakeholders in adoption, yet we don't have a single apex adoptive parents group dealing with CARA and Union WC. It's an observation. I don't know if it's a question, but there are organizations right now where prospective adoptive parents are coming together and trying to put their requirements, their needs across. So it's not as if there is nothing. There are a lot of people who are aware and concerned about this, and organizations are working towards it. So, and Meera, you can probably give some examples. Of
I put one group which is actively working, Adoption Action Group. There are, this is a group of about 320, 330 prospective parents who actually have approached CARA, have approached WCD,
Correct.
and they are trying to see how they can speed up the process. So you can join that and see if it helps. Yeah.
There's a question from Swarnima. Do you think any concrete changes in the policy or the JJ Act adoption laws will reduce the delays on ground? If yes, can you please mention any examples? Thank you. So Swarnima, I don't know how long I can take, but there's a whole paper that we produced on this. Yes, there are, we identified at least 6 changes that can be made in the JJ Act and the adoption laws. And we've produced a report and presented it to the Central WCD. We are more than happy to share some of that with you. Maybe an example could be how often a child is evaluated for adoption. Right now, it says as soon as the child is entering CCI, but we believe it needs to be more frequent. That is one change that we are requesting. There are more things like that, but there are things that can be done to change some of the guidelines and the act as well.
Yeah, actually our website does have the information.
Some information
of what
is
we are trying to.
Yes,
yeah,
some information is available. You can just pick it up from there as well. How much percentage of data of abandoned and orphaned children in the states of Maharashtra and Telangana are digitized so far on the CLMS system? It's a tough one because see, I'll tell you, Hitesh, why we even started WIC. Because the overall count of children was a bit iffy. We were not even getting the fixed number as to how many children are there, right? So there were multiple reports we looked at. Some mentioned 2 lakhs, some mentioned 3.5 lakhs, some mentioned 4 lakhs. And we started digitizing these children. So right now, instead of thinking of percentages, we think of how many CCIs can we continue to cover and how many children can we continue to add. Right now, between Maharashtra and Telangana, we've got 10,000 records, right? And these are just about 23 districts. You can do the math and extrapolate it to the 736 districts that are there in the organization and in the country and pick up a percentage. Right now, if we start looking at percentages, I think we'll go completely crazy. So we look at CCIs, how many children housed in the CCIs, how many caseworkers to be deployed there, and we continue to add more and more data. Once we've covered the country, definitely I'll have an answer for you.
Yes.
Due to the transfer of cases from court to DM and back to court, seems the referrals, post-referral procedures have slowed down, mostly due to lack of information. Primary objective child's being is impacted since custody is not granted. So far, CARA has abstained from a formal position. What is your position on this? Not that our position matters, but we have a view. We have a view that whether it is the court, whether it is the DM, even if it is the DM, the effort has to be how do we train the district magistrates? How do we provide right kind of support and training to the people on the ground who are actually processing the children to be able to do this quickly? And the focus has to be there, Wherever you move it to the court, you move it to the DM, you bring it back to the court. Unless we have sensitized these people and unless we've trained these people, we will always have challenges. I think that's all I can say, Meera, unless you want to add something here.
I do want, I think I have a different take on this, right? So the DM or the court is actually needed to say that, to formalize the adoption. And yes, with older children, it does become a little difficult because of schooling, etc. But with younger children, right? What I feel is the child is home, right? The child is home, the child is with family, and child is yours, right? So the fact that the DM or the court, and there is a lot of back and forth, this affects the inter-country adoption a lot, and that is understandable, right? But what happens is they're trying to do their best, is how we look at it. Right? They think that the DM, the CARA and the Central WCD think that the DM will reduce the wait for formalizing the adoption, right? And any such change, we feel, will take time, right? Any such change to see the effect on the system will take time, right? It's barely about maybe 6 to 7 months since this change has come, since I think September, October of last year. So can we give it some time before we say that, okay, it is not working, they're not doing a good job, etc. Can we give these changes some time? Because any change is hard. And that is my position personally, but that's what we feel is any change is hard and we need to give it some time to settle down. Because if the DM and the courts are fighting, who's the loser here, right? The child and the parents. So I think hopefully there is some consensus, and I understand from various news articles that it has been resolved now, the Maharashtra and the DM. So I think as of July 16th or June 16th, it has been resolved. So please look it up, but hopefully not too much of delay in this. Yeah.
Can couple who can biologically conceive adopt children? Will they not be given priority by CARA? There is no such rule. No such guideline, no such requirement placed on the PAP. Your ability to biologically conceive or not conceive a child has no bearing on how fit you are for adopting a child. So please don't worry about that. If you are considering adoption, go for it. Register yourself and try it out.
Yes. There is a question in Telugu. I'm sorry, I'm not very good in reading Telugu. I think something about Hama probably is the question. See, right now we are only acting, మేము uti JJ Act తో పనిచేస్తాం because that's the only legal way for us to even monitor, track, etc. Hama cases are difficult. I think every state Hama gurinchi koncham maybe the WCD can make their own decisions is how we look at it. For now, we can only comment on the JJ Act, not particularly on the Hama. So thanks for that question.
Can I adopt a child with special needs? What is the process? Yes, you can adopt a child with special needs. Process is very similar. You still have to go to the CARA website and register your interest in adoption, fill up the form. And there, when you're choosing a child category, you can choose special needs as the category. This is one category where you will have virtually no wait time. So yes, please go ahead.
Thanks, Pratima. So I just wanted to add the other thing is with special needs children, in case you feel you are unable to manage the special needs once you know a lot of information about the child and you are unable to accept the child, there is no penalty in terms of your wait list. So you will not go to the bottom of the wait list if you do not accept the reserve part of it. Yeah. So just wanted to add that. Thanks.
Okay, this is a good question, and maybe that'll answer a few other questions. Other than doing groundwork, how are you influencing states like Telangana and Maharashtra to create child records directly into digital platforms so that the evaluation of children is faster? Raj, the approach that we've taken is that WCD at the moment is developing a central system to ensure that all records of children get created. We are helping them in integrating the intelligence part of our solution to make sure that their solution has the intelligence to start identifying the children who should be directly processed. Going to individual states like Telangana and Maharashtra was giving us moderate success when it came to technology, but we feel a better approach is what we've taken now, where we are engaging with the central WCD in their central system to ensure that our tech gets integrated with the central system that they're rolling out across multiple states now.
This in Hindi also. हिंदी में थोड़ा कोशिश करेंगे हिंदी में तो प्रतिमा ने बोला कि हम सेंटर से थोड़ा जुड़ना चाहते हैं ताकि सेंटर रोल आउट करे हम क्या कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हर एक स्टेट को जाना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है. सो सेंट्रल एक पोर्टल बना रही है, इट्स कॉल्ड मिशन वात्सल्य. तो उसमें कैसे ये हमारा प्री अडॉप्शन मॉड्यूल बैठ सकता है, उसके द्वारा जल्दी ही बच्चों का ऑल स्टेट्स में कैसे अडॉप्शन एवैल्यूएशन के लिए आ सकते हैं, वो हमारा प्रयास है अभी, instead of going to individual states. And I think there is a question about can we adopt a child from my relatives as per Hama Act guidelines? देखिए हम रेकमेंड करेंगे कि कारा ने भी किया है रिलेटिव अडॉप्शन, उसके द्वारा आप करेंगे तो आपका पूरा लीगलाइज होगा. Hama still is not very clear on the guidelines, तो हम recommend नहीं कर सकते हैं. लेकिन कारा का जो है आप same relative adoption कर सकते हैं कारा के द्वारा भी. तो it is better to do it through कारा. That is our advice.
I think there's one question around what's your biggest challenge in rolling out the solution? Ensuring that all entities, including CCIs, use it in the states you're already present and in other states also. Meena, you want to take that?
Yes. So yes, every cause has its own challenges. So the challenges currently is that we have to do it. There is no other way. Even if the government does it, we are doing it. We have to go to every CCI. It is physically intensive, right? So that is our biggest challenge. We go to districts and do it. See, the other challenge is also that unfortunately, adoption is at a lower priority for the government stakeholders because they have a charter of the child protection area is very big, right? So they have child marriage, child labor, trafficking. There's so many other things they kind of day-to-day basis they work a lot, right? So sometimes adoption becomes a little bit lower on the priority because the child has a home. The child is in a shelter. What else, do we need to do? So that has been a big challenge for us. But we end up again, yes, as I said, that's why the timeline increases. What needs to be in 4 months does get to be a little longer because of some of these challenges on the ground. The other thing is if we can at any point, right, that is our endeavor. What you said, include CCIs to use this solution diligently. And they are the ones who are presenting these children's data in front of the CWCs and the DCPUs. I think a lot of our work will be limited at the training level, right? We train them using this technology. We train them how to do the pre-adoption process, which we do today, right? So we kind of have a lot of programs, awareness, etc. But I think to do this pan-India will take some time. But in the states we work, we are trying to do this. So then what happens, the CCIs are taking responsibility and they will present the children, right? You don't need a WIC to do it, but then we'll probably do the training, the monitoring, etc., which needs to be done consistently. Auditing and monitoring is something we want to do as a continuous process. The state we are already present, as I said, हम कर रहे हैं, trainings करते हैं, programs. तेलंगाना में बहुत कर चुके हैं training programs on this ground. In other states, we are starting in Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka. तो कोशिश जारी रहेगी कि हम ये काम कैसे सस्टेनेबल बनाएं, ये हम देखने की हर एक एवरी डे वी थिंक अबाउट इट, हर एक रोज हम कोशिश करते हैं कि सस्टेनेबिलिटी कैसे लाएं ये काम में. So we are thinking of options. Yes.
I am getting a few pokes on answering a question that I answered in English and Hindi as well. So, yes, मैं हिंदी में भी वही चीज बोलती हूँ आपको. हमसे पूछा गया था कि हमसे जुड़कर क्या पेरेंट्स को बेनिफिट है, क्या अडॉप्शन जल्दी होंगे. देखिए, हमने WIC इसलिए शुरू किया था, सवाल वहां से ही पैदा हुआ था कि हर पेरेंट का यही प्रॉब्लम था कि इतना समय क्यों लग रहा है. तो जब हम इस सवाल को बहुत पास से देखने की कोशिश की तो हमने रियलाइज किया कि काफी ज्यादा बच्चे हैं CCIs में जो अभी तक लीगल अडॉप्शन पूल में मूव नहीं हुए. बट वी एग्जिस्ट फॉर द चिल्ड्रन. हम बच्चों के लिए काम करते हैं. हमारा होप और विजन यही है कि बच्चों का वेट पीरियड जो है एक CCI के अंदर वो कम हो. और यही एक विजन है कि जितने ज्यादा बच्चे अडॉप्शन पूल में ऐड होंगे उतना ही होपफुली फर्क पड़ेगा. जो पेरेंट्स वेटिंग है उनके अडॉप्शन में, उनके वेटिंग टाइम में वो कम होना चाहिए. यही होप से हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं. तो अगर आपका भी यही मानना है कि बच्चे जो अनाथ हैं, बच्चे जिनका कोई नहीं है, जिनको एक अडॉप्टिव फैमिली में, एक दत्तक परिवार में पहुंचना चाहिए, तो डेफिनेटली हमसे जुड़िए. और हाँ, जितना हम ज्यादा काम करेंगे, जितना ज्यादा बच्चों तक हम पहुंच पाएंगे, जितना ज्यादा हम बच्चों का डेटा डिजिटाइज कर पाएंगे, उतना जल्दी बच्चे मूव कर पाएंगे अडॉप्शन. I think there's a question, Meera, on this recent change that was made in September regarding the zones, right?
Right.
Is that something you want to take? Because I think 2 or 3 people have asked that. Am I restricted to where I'm living? Is there a zone? And what if they've registered before September? How is that affecting their choices now?
Yes. So before September, if you have selected anywhere in India or any states, it does not affect you, right? लेकिन अगर आपने September 2022 के बाद register किया और zones ऐसे बनते हैं आपके address से, right? Where are you from? So आपके address के हिसाब से आपको you can choose your zone. So unfortunately, that is the rule. I think they are trying to essentially build cultural adaptation of the child, which is probably good for an older child. And the zones will affect only if you have registered after September 2022. Before that, you're anywhere in India or the states you have selected will still be valid. That is the information we have. Yeah.
I will request Mr. Arjun, Ms. Tripura, Vishnu Vandana, please, अगर आप type कर दें question, it will be easier for us to answer. Unfortunately, मैं unmute नहीं कर पाऊंगी इस समय किसी को, क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा सवाल आ रहे हैं. तो अगर आप type कर दें questions, तो definitely we'll try and answer as much as we can. There's a question: is there an update on WIC's application for the FCRA so that people from outside India can donate to WIC? Ashley, thank you for that question. We are trying our absolute best to move this as soon as possible, but it is going to take time. I think right now we've just started with the first step, which is creating a bank account with the State Bank of India. We are starting with that, and then we will go on to the rest of the application process. We expect it to take anywhere between 1 to 1.5 years, if not more. But we will keep you posted. As soon as we have FCRA, I think the first thing we'll do is let the world know. Definitely. Thank you so much for that.
I think there's a question about how they can help apart from monetary support.
Right.
Yes. So yes, you can be a good citizen. I'm sure all of us are. I think spreading awareness about the challenge is very important because I think as a society, क्या हो रहा है अभी, we are beginning to think that a shelter is okay for a child to live in because roti है, कपड़ा, मकान, थोड़ा एजुकेशन. आई थिंक वी हैव मूव अवे फ्रॉम दैट माइंडसेट कि कैसे बच्चे को फैमिली बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती है, इंडिविजुअल अटेंशन इंपॉर्टेंट होती है बच्चे के ग्रोथ फ्यूचर के लिए. हाउ वी आर पार्ट ऑफ अ UNCRC कन्वेंशन, तो कैसे हम वो फुलफिल कर सकते हैं फैमिली का, एक बच्चे का, right? So it's very important to spread word. It's not only about what WIC is doing, it's also about what you believe in, right? Do you believe in a child's right to family? Then you should talk about it. It should become a conversation in a room. So that's what we hope when you're meeting people. It should be a conversation about what's happening with these children in shelters. The other thing which we feel is very important is आप जब एक चाइल्ड शेल्टर को डोनेट करते हो या ऑर्फनेज को डोनेट करते हो, उनसे पूछिए कि हाउ मेनी चिल्ड्रन आर ऑर्फन्स, हाउ मेनी चिल्ड्रन हैव पेरेंट्स, व्हाई आर ऑर्फन चिल्ड्रन नॉट गोइंग इनटू द लीगल अडॉप्शन पूल और आर दे पुटिंग देम इन द लीगल अडॉप्शन पूल. तो जब पर्टिनेंट क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं हम, ऐसा नहीं है कि आप सपोर्ट नहीं कीजिए इनको, प्लीज सपोर्ट दीज चिल्ड्रन बिकॉज दे डू नीड सपोर्ट, बट आर दे डूइंग द राइट थिंग बाय द चाइल्ड, ये थोड़ा जानना जरूरी है. तो आप अगर क्वेश्चंस पूछेंगे उनको, वो बोलेंगे कि नहीं हमको नहीं मालूम, सो यू कैन पुट देम इन टच मे बी विद अस और विद द state government, and then they can start putting these children in the adoption pool, right? So that kind of help is very, very important for us. The other thing is about, yes, legal adoption. You talk about CARA, you say that is the only way to adopt legally, and safe surrender. Safe surrender is a big thing. Abhi bhi aaj ki tarikh, this morning I got up to a news that somewhere in Jharkhand there was a baby who was abandoned in fields, right? So these horror stories we hear every day. Every day there is an abandoned child, and it is not only about abandoning a child when the child is a baby. बड़े बच्चों को gradually abandon किया जाता है in shelters. Visit करने नहीं आते हैं, parents को भूल जाते हैं बच्चे, right? 18 के बाद आते हैं. So gradual abandonment is also a reality. Abandonment is also a reality, right? How do we, I won't say encourage, how do we spread awareness about surrender? There is a law, right, that says that if you can surrender the child legally and safely in a specialized adoption agency, and then the child is put into the adoption pool after 60 days, there's a reconsideration time, right, after surrender. So after 60 days, the child directly goes into the legal adoption pool where they can reach a family quickly. So these are some of the aspects of awareness you can do. We're also trying to restructure our volunteer program. Once it is restructured, you'll have some concrete things maybe you can volunteer for, which you can help us do. And we're always looking for CSR.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, as Meera was saying, I think somebody asked how to be involved or volunteer. Yeah, we need help as much as we can get. We need help in fundraising. We need help in access to grants, in access to CSR projects. For volunteers, we right now have permanent positions for which we are hiring. Volunteer program, definitely we're developing it. See, it's really highly technical work to be able to move a child. And, the groundwork is highly technical. The kind of training that is needed, the kind of understanding of the system that is needed is highly technical. So our voluntary work is limited, but nevertheless, we are looking at it, how more and more people can be involved in the voluntary work. And we will, get back to you more on that. Meanwhile, you can keep checking the section of Join Us on our website, and it will always have options for you there. Biggest help we need, and this is where I take out my, begging bowl really, is to say that we need donations. This is a part of a fundraiser. Unless I have funds, I can't hire more people and I can't get to more children. It's as simple as that. So the more you can spread the message on people wanting to donate to a good cause, please do talk about us and see if, people would be willing to donate to us. I think we've taken quite a bunch of questions.
I think somebody has asked, if you select a zone, can you change it? Yes, you can change, but then again, only those zones which is applicable to you, you can change, right? So that's the only thing. But you can, as part of the preference changes 3 times, you can update it, but you cannot. I don't know if you can update it outside the zone you are eligible for. Maybe there is a relaxation committee which will take a look at it, but it is fairly new, the zone, change. So you might want to try sending a mail to CARA, but we are not aware if they have changed it. Yeah.
I'll take this one question that has come just now. PAPs are facing embarrassment for long delays to adopt a child. So can we request to CARA for a simpler way for adoption? So there are 2 points that you're making. Right. One is PAPs are facing embarrassment for the long delays to adopt a child. See, my humble suggestion would be that please adopt thinking that you're bringing a child home and you're giving a home to a child who needs it, right? Please do not adopt to hide any kind of an embarrassment for not having a child, right? Please really think through your own motivations for bringing a child home. It really matters. It matters to the way you'll bring up the child. It matters in the way the child will look at the entire situation as the child grows up. So please work on that, definitely. Can you request CARA for a simpler way for adoption? I think at the moment, देखिए, एक होम लोन लेने के लिए भी हमें काफी ज्यादा डॉक्यूमेंट्स प्रोड्यूस करने पड़ते हैं. पेरेंट बनने के लिए अगर कारा चाहता है कि एक ड्यू डिलिजेंस हो जिसमें देखा जाए कि पेरेंट्स का क्या मोटिवेशन लेवल है, उनकी फाइनेंशियल कैपेसिटी क्या है, उनकी मेडिकल कैपेसिटी क्या है, तो मेरे ख्याल से ये बहुत ही रीजनेबल आस्क है. इस समय कारा ने बहुत हद तक इस प्रोसेस को सिंप्लीफाई किया है. रजिस्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस पूरा डिजिटाइज्ड है. जो उनको डॉक्यूमेंटेशन चाहिए वो क्लियरली मेंशन्ड है. HSR के रिक्वायरमेंट्स क्लियर हैं. आपसे क्या क्या डॉक्यूमेंट्स चाहिए, आपसे क्या क्या एक्सपेक्टेशंस हैं, वो भी बहुत क्लियरली मेंशन है. Please go through the adoption regulations on the CARA website. It gives you a lot of information on what is your role, etc. The challenge is the wait time. That is the only challenge, if you ask me. I don't see any big challenge other than that in bringing a child home. And that's what we are all concerned about today, and we are all working on to reduce, I think. Asking for a simpler way, I don't know. Asking for a way that more children can be given the opportunity to get adopted, definitely. As a citizen of the country, I think it's our right to ask that question. Why so many children are in the shelters and not being given an opportunity to be even evaluated for adoption? That is your right. That is the question we have to ask. And I think that's why we exist also. That's why the question, where are India's children? I think thank you, Aruna. Someone is unable to take care of a bio child. Kenchi, Mira, is a very pertinent question. You want to take that?
Yes. So, of course, I think as a society, again, we have to stop judging when somebody who's unable to take care or unable to raise the child wants to surrender the child, right? In keeping the child's best interest in view. So yes, they can approach a child welfare committee and surrender the child legally. So they can't put up the child for adoption in public, right? They have to do it as a government process. So they can go and surrender the child legally in front of a child welfare committee. Every district has a child welfare committee. And most districts have a specialized adoption agency. You can find the specialized adoption agency on the CARA website. You can call them and let them know that you want to surrender the child, and guide them to, if it is someone you can guide them, go with them. And the Child Welfare Committee, of course, will ask a few questions about why you're surrendering the child or why the person is surrendering. And based on that, they do accept the surrender, right? We have seen surrenders from varied, backgrounds. So generally, it is thought that surrender is only a low-income family which is doing it, but no. There are surrenders of different kinds, right? Special needs children, they cannot take care, they surrender. So I think there are a lot of reasons why surrender is allowed, and you just have to go and take a chance. And please guide people. I think as a society, we do need to do that. We shouldn't be judging, let's say, a family who's having 3-4 children already and they want to surrender a child. Help them make that decision in the best interest of the child. So yes, safe surrender is good for a family.
There was a question by Anushila. How can we get connected to an adoption counselors? Right now, there are many organizations that are working in the area of adoption counseling. We are probably one of them, but that is not our biggest focus. That is one of the focus areas. So you can write to us if you need help. Just write to us at team@wic.in and we'll try and respond to all questions. There are organizations who are focused on this. I've just given you one URL. There's Families of Joy you can go to. There's Padme. There are many more. There are, they are their whole, I think, dedicated model is to provide counseling for adoption, and it's one of the best options to. You shouldn't necessarily take counseling when you decide to adopt, however ready you feel you are. Right? It's being a parent. It's a life altering thing that happens to you. Right? So please do take counseling. I think you need all the support that you will get when you become a parent.
I think now CARA has made it mandatory to have 2 counseling sessions before you adopt. So it is a good thing to be prepared. And I think when somebody asks about delay, I think the other way to prepare during the delay is read a lot about it. Nowadays, there is so much information available. Read books about adoption. Be prepared. Get prepared for the gestation period can be used fruitfully by preparing yourself. Sorry.
No, you're so right, Meena. See, once a child comes, everything is about your entire world changes. The priority is towards the child. This is the only last few, trust me, sane years, months you have left where you can actually work on your own skills, the time you want to spend with your spouse, anything else you want to do, really. So travel, whatever. Because once a child is there, everything's about the child, right? So yeah. I know there's a wait period, but make use of the wait period.
I think someone asked, how can I help WIC? I think Pratima has given the answer. So please be on the lookout. Wherever you can talk about, this challenge and the solution, please do. And safe surrender is another way you can spread awareness. Even if one person today knows about the surrender law, that is, it goes a long way.
Yeah, you can follow our social media channels as well. We put out regular information on a whole bunch of topics. Yes, Anushila. I don't know. We'll probably meet you at the Nudge alumni meet, if not the accelerator or the boot camp. We'll see. Definitely.
Yes. I think we kind of are ending our Nudge. We have ended our Nudge.
I think she's part of the accelerator.
She's part of the accelerator too. We just are finishing the accelerator, but we'll catch up. I hope you're on the accelerator group, alumni group.
We'll definitely catch up.
Yes.
I think that's it. I think we did well, Meera.
We did well for time also. Yes.
For time, I think we've tried to answer as much. Please, if there's any more, we are more than happy to be around for some more time.
Yes.
I think there's one that came right in the beginning. I don't know, Mia, if you want to answer that. Raj
The
asked this
PIL?
question.
The
Raj,
PIL one?
PIL, yes, PIL one. Is there an option to file a PIL on behalf of the waiting parents to accelerate the process faster? Oh, yeah. Can you also talk about the central and the state government they're doing? I think that we've talked about that. But
Talked about that. Yeah, I think, Raj, what happens is PIL may be a way to go, but see, we as an organization want to work with the government, want to find solutions with the government, right? Because we want a systemic change. If we don't make changes in the system, then it is not sustainable, right? We do not know how the PIL works in terms of what happens after the PIL, what are the implementation decisions taken after the PIL, etc. So we cannot do it, or we don't want to go that route. Well, the 30,000 parents are welcome to do what they want or feel like to do. But the best way to, I think, bring about change is always working through the system, in the system, right? That is what we believe in. And we are presenting lot of data-based evidence to the WCD so that they can make changes in the policy themselves, right? That is our endeavor. We don't want to it is not a blame game, right? We understand the groundwork so much better now as to what it takes to bring a child into the legal adoption pool. But yes, there are some systemic changes the government can do, and we want to work, in that manner with the government. The 30,000 parents, I don't know if PIL will work. I don't have an answer to that. We don't have an answer to that. But I think groups like the Adoption Action Group are trying to raise their voices and go to the government and ask them why it's taking so long, etc. And hope, and we also can vouch for the fact that the government is trying, right? That is something we have seen. They want to do it. And they are seeking help with organizations like us to make that change. So we're thankful for that. PIL probably is not the way for us as an organization. Also, I think we want to work with the government in the system to bring that change. I hope that answers your question.
Is there any questions for which you need an answer in Hindi? अगर हिंदी में आपको कोई और सवाल का जवाब चाहिए तो एक बार फिर से लिख दें प्लीज, क्योंकि 2-3 बार ये आई थिंक आया कि हिंदी में बताइए, बट आई थिंक हम अब मैं क्वेश्चन ढूंढ रही हूँ, वो क्वेश्चन कौन सा था?
No, I think there is a question just now about Government of India to bring the fostering of children.
Oh yeah.
Yes. They are looking at foster care, which is not the same as pre-adoption foster care. This is fostering by unrelated families. They are looking at it very closely. In fact, we were asked to give data for that aspect as well. And I think the good part about it is they've changed a little bit in the foster care rules where, you foster a child for 2 years, then you can apply for adopting the same child, which is, I think, encouraging, especially, but they are looking for fostering of older children, right? Anywhere age group of 14 to 18, who are hard to place for adoption. And just to add to that point, I think it becomes useful when we have data for this, right? So we also feel that the work we are doing in terms of the data collection will also help in adjacencies or other outcomes for these children. And we are glad we can help the government in that aspect as well. But yes, fostering is being looked at very closely by the center, by states. They're trying to form their own model rules, foster model rules. Foster model rules already exist. They were made in 2016. They're trying to make changes to that as well. But yes, they're also trying to see how they can make it robust, right? To reduce a lot of administrative things, lot of maybe abuse, those kind of aspects. They're also trying to see how training can be given, etc., which is great. They're looking at it in a holistic manner, but it will soon be rolled out. We hope in the next few months. Yeah.
I think that's it. I don't see any unanswered one so far.
Yeah. Anybody else feel their question is unanswered? Please type it again. I think they've had a lot of questions, so they might have rolled off. Okay, I think we're kind of
I think
done.
we're good.
Pratima?
Yeah, looks like, yes.
Looks
Well,
like.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much, everyone who listened patiently and also who's been sending us so many questions. I think we were very happy with the kind of questions that came through, and I think your questions also gave us an opportunity to showcase our work. So I think it helped. So thank you so much for that. If there's anything more, please feel free to write to us. Meera has shared the email ID team@wic.in. We would be more than happy to respond to any questions that come through. Meera, any last words before we sign off?
I would like to thank everyone who attended this on a Sunday morning. Would like to take this opportunity to thank Pratima for organizing this, and also our team. So a dedicated team who works on the ground, and hope to make a difference in the adoption ecosystem. This year will be very, very crucial for us. So please support us in any which way you can. The donation links have been given by Pratima, and please write to us if you have any CSR connects, anything else which can help us further our work. Please, any government connects also will help. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thanks a lot. I will be logging off now, and have a great day all of you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.